Rebirth in the 1980s. I agreed to break off the engagement without hesitation. For 4 years, I gave all the money I earned from part-time jobs to fund Sam's education. He once promised me with deep affection that he would love me forever. But the moment he graduated, he brought home a girlfriend. I know you're a good person, but let's be honest, you never even finished high school. Do you really think you're worthy? In my past life, I couldn't accept it. I kept clinging to him, bringing shame upon my entire family and turning us into the village laughingstock. In the end, on the night of his wedding, I drowned myself in the river. In this life, I agreed to break off the engagement. Yet now, Sam regrets it. Chapter 1. The bone-chilling cold and the suffocating feeling of near death still seem to linger in my body. I looked at the bed in my room and finally realized this wasn't a dream. I had truly returned to the night before Sam's betrayal and my suicide. Footsteps echoed outside the door. Through the window, I saw Sam carrying large bags, walking toward the house. My parents, overjoyed to see him, said, "Sam must be here to see Camila. We'll go call her right now." But I stepped out with a cold expression. "Dad, why are you so happy? He's here to break off the engagement." The moment my words fell, they froze in place. That was when they noticed that Sam was holding the very same engagement contract we had signed 4 years ago. "Sam, what's the meaning of this? Now that you've graduated and don't need my daughter to support you anymore, you want to turn your back on her?" My father, furious, threw down his hoe and stormed forward to confront him. By then, a few curious neighbors had already gathered at the entrance to watch the commotion. Everyone in the village knew about Sam and me. I was clearly the victim, yet they still sided with him simply because he was the only college graduate from our village. Sam put on an act, pretending to feel reluctant, but I knew he had already made arrangements with his family to marry his university girlfriend by the end of the year. In my previous life, consumed by hatred and unwillingness to accept reality, I had drowned myself on his wedding night. But now that I was back, I would never repeat the same mistakes. Sam stood there awkwardly. "Uncle, please calm down. I can explain. A forced relationship won't bring happiness. I know Camila is a good person, but she never went to school. We have nothing in common. If we stay together, neither of us will be happy." His excuse was exactly the same as in my past life. Hearing it again, I still felt anger, but not heartbreak. I didn't cry this time. Instead, I stepped forward and slapped him hard. Gasps erupted from the onlookers. They had expected me to shrink away in shame. No one thought I would fight back. "Everyone, tell me, what did I ever do wrong?" I shouted, standing tall. 4 years. He's eaten my food, worn the clothes I bought, spent the money I earned, everything he had, I paid for. And now that he's graduated, he wants to break off the engagement and even dares to insult me while doing it? What kind of person does that? Hands on my hips, I tore into Sam, finally voicing all the grievances I had suffered for years. The crowd's opinion shifted. Instead of looking at me with pity, they turned to criticize Sam. He might be a college student, but he shouldn't forget his roots. When he was away, Camila took care of both households' work. We all saw it with our own eyes. In my past life, I had been too ashamed to speak up, allowing Sam to control the narrative. He had calmly hidden in the background while I was ridiculed and humiliated. But this time, I didn't fall into his trap. Instead, he was the one left standing there, humiliated. After I had scolded him enough, I snatched the engagement contract from his hands. Then, I tore it to shreds, threw the pieces onto the ground, and stomped on them a few times. I agree to break off the engagement. But let's be clear, this isn't your family rejecting mine. I'm the one dumping you. And one more thing, I want you to sign a debt contract. You will repay every single cent of the tuition money I gave you over the past 4 years. When he heard the first part, I caught a flicker of joy in Sam's eyes. But the moment he saw me actually take out a debt contract and ask him to sign it, he immediately started making excuses. My parents saw right through his act and forced him to sign the document before letting him go, tail between his legs. As he was leaving, Sam even had the nerve to look wounded. "Camila, I did have some feelings for you, but now you're calculating everything so coldly against me?" I'm really disappointed in you. You better not regret this in the future. Chapter 2. My mother spat on the ground in anger as she watched Sam leave. My daughter could stay single for the rest of her life, and we'd still take care of her, no matter what. We don't need anything from you. A wave of satisfaction surged in my heart, followed closely by a bitter ache. I thought back to my past life, how stubborn I had been, dragging my entire family into shame. My parents and younger brother were too humiliated to even leave the house. My brother's engagement was ruined because of me, while we struggled to survive. Sam and his family thrived, gaining both wealth and reputation. Mom, he's gone. Stop looking. Pulling myself from my thoughts, I guided my parents back inside. To disperse the curious onlookers outside, I handed each of them a handful of sunflower seeds. These idle gossips thrived on drama, giving them a little goodwill now meant they'd speak in my favor later. Once we were seated, my parents observed me carefully. My father hesitated before asking, "Daughter, tell me honestly, do you still have feelings for that bastard? If you do, I swear I'll drag him back myself, even if I have to tie him up." I couldn't help but chuckle and shook my head. Dad, there are plenty of men in this world. I'm not stupid enough to waste my life on someone who doesn't love me. But if I really had to get married, I already have someone in mind. In my previous life, after I died, Luis, the butcher from next door, took revenge for me with his own hands. Then, before disappearing, he sold his shop and left all the money hidden in the bricks by our doorstep. It was only then that I realized he had loved me all along. Now that I had another chance at life, I wouldn't let him slip away again. Who cares about love, if nothing else? I could just consider it repaying a debt of gratitude. But the moment I mentioned Luis's name, both my parents rushed to cover my mouth. This can't happen. He has no parents or siblings, without family support. How could your life with him be happy? I understood their concerns. But Luis was a hardworking and reliable man. His butcher shop was always bustling with customers, and at the end of the year, he earned more money than anyone else in the village. If he ever moved his business to the city, his success would be unimaginable. I don't care if it's not Luis. I won't marry anyone. I had only said this to reassure my parents, but suddenly, a loud noise came from outside. Turning my head, I realized that Luis had arrived without us noticing and had just dropped his cutting board. I jumped in surprise. "Are you okay? Did you get hurt?" Luis's face was as red as a tomato. He stammered, "And no, I'm fine." Only then did I realize he had come to deliver the meat we had ordered. But instead, he had overheard me saying I wanted to marry him. For a moment, even I felt a little embarrassed. Chapter 3. Luckily, he didn't ask any more questions. After dropping off the meat, he hurried to leave. But in his panic, he tripped over our doorstep and fell hard to the ground. My parents burst into laughter, and I quickly rushed over to help him up, only to see that his pants had torn at the knee. "How about you go home and change? Bring this one back, and I'll sew it up for you." I looked at him gently, making Luis's face turn an even deeper shade of red. He was about the same age as me, yet he had never been in a relationship before. It wasn't that no other girls were interested in him, but every time a matchmaker visited his house, he would send them away. Eventually, the matchmakers started gossiping behind his back, calling him the eternal bachelor. "You, sew my pants. That's not necessary." A hint of embarrassment flickered in Luis's eyes. Before he could finish, my parents pulled me back. "What are you doing? If the pants are ruined, we'll just buy him a new pair." Upon hearing that, Luis immediately stood up, waved his hands, and hurried away. No need for that. It was my own fault. Even after he was long gone, I stood frozen in place. My mother turned to me, her tone sharp. "Daughter, you're not really interested in that bachelor Luis, are you? We absolutely won't agree to it." I simply smiled and said, "Mom, I actually want to go into business with him. Luis's butcher shop is incredibly profitable. If I invest and become a shareholder, I could earn a nice monthly profit." My parents exchanged glances. "But we still need money to find a wife for your younger brother. We don't have much to invest." I nodded. I don't need your money. Sam just has to pay me back. Over the past 4 years, all the money I had given Sam added up to at least 1,000 yuan. In my past life, I worked in a factory like everyone else, endlessly exhausted for a tiny salary. But this time around, I wanted to build something of my own. Having made up my mind, I grabbed my sewing kit and went to find Luis. To my surprise, the moment I explained my intentions, he rejected me without hesitation. My reputation is bad. If you associate with me, people will start gossiping about you too. He lowered his voice, looking away. Besides, I don't have big ambitions. As long as I can earn enough to survive in the village, that's good enough for me. A chill ran through me. So you have no plans to get married, build a family, or start a real business? It's not about luck. You just need the right strategy. Work with me, and I promise, we'll make money without fail. Luis looked down, mumbling, "Aren't you afraid people will laugh at you?" Instead of answering, I snatched the torn pants from his hands and began sewing. You have your skills. I have mine. If we work together, we'll make a fortune. So what's there to be afraid of? In no time, I had finished mending his pants. When I smiled and handed them back to him, Luis looked momentarily stunned. Finally, he let out a breath and relented. All right, I'll do it. Meanwhile, I went to Sam's house to demand my money. Before I even stepped inside, I could hear the chaos inside. Son, why did you sign that debt agreement? That's so much money. How are we supposed to pay it back? Don't worry. Sam scoffed. I know Camila. She's head over heels for me. There's no way she'll actually force me to pay it back. I let out a cold laugh before kicking the door open. You wish. When are you paying me back? If you don't, I'll show up at your house every single day until you can't live in peace. Sam's girlfriend was also there, a delicate and pretty girl. But the moment she saw me, she shrunk behind him, acting like a timid little mouse. Sam's family all looked displeased to see me. In the past, they had no problem ordering me around for Sam's sake. Even now, they still thought I was someone they could push around. Camila, what's wrong with you? You paid that tuition willingly. We're not giving you a single cent back. Without another word, I grabbed the table and flipped it over. If you still don't want to pay, then I won't leave. I'll trash your entire house and see who ends up looking worse. Sam wants to get married, right? Then I'll take his fiancée away, return her when you pay me back. The moment those words left my mouth, I felt a bit guilty. I wasn't really going to do it. But it worked. The Sam family finally panicked. They hurriedly rummaged through their belongings and pulled out half the money, stuffing it into my hands. This is everything we have right now. Take it and leave. There's no need to get violent. I counted the cash, then turned and slapped Sam across the face. As for the rest, I'll be back for it. Don't think I'll go easy on you, understand? Sam's girlfriend burst into tears. You shameless shrew. How dare you hit him? Sure, Sam took your money, but you threw yourself at him first. He had no way to refuse. I shot her a glare. Do you even have any shame? The money was his request. I'm only taking back what's mine. How does that make me a shrew? I had no interest in wasting more time on them. I marched straight to Louis' house and slammed the cash down on the table. All right, write up a contract. We're going into business together. The news spread fast. The whole village thought I'd lost my mind. People gossiped and whispered. Some even boldly showed up at my house. Did Sam's rejection drive you insane? Why else would you be messing around with Luis? I chased them out and got back to helping Luis with inventory. Luis had been silent all day, working with his head down. Suddenly, he said, "Don't let them get to you. If they come again, I'll grab a stick and beat them out of here." I laughed. Good, I'll count on you to protect me then. Luis was meticulous about choosing fresh, high-quality pork, so we had a steady stream of returning customers. Since our village was close to the city, transport and storage weren't too difficult either. I was about to head out to buy some extra ice for storage when I saw Sam hesitating outside my house. He still had the same handsome features, but looking at him no longer made my heart race. Instead, it made me nauseous. Camila, he sneered. Aren't you ashamed? Getting involved with a butcher? Are you just trying to disgust me? Chapter 4. I'm here to pay back the debt. Take this. And we're done. Don't come accusing me of nonsense again. Sam threw the money onto the ground, as if touching me would somehow dirty his hands. I let out a cold laugh. I had expected to go through a lot of trouble to get the rest of my money, but he actually delivered it himself, a blessing in disguise. Before leaving, Sam gave me one last deep look. For the sake of our past relationship, I'll give you some advice. Stay away from that pig butcher. Spending too much time with that brainless idiot will only ruin your chances of getting married. I had no intention of responding to him, but when he insulted Luis like that, I lost my temper and kicked him. If he's an idiot, then you're a complete moron. Now get lost. Sam's face darkened. How many times have you laid hands on me now? One more time. And he stopped mid-sentence. I turned around and saw that Luis had silently appeared behind me, watching Sam with an expressionless gaze. Luis had a strong, intimidating build. Just standing there, he had Sam so terrified that the guy immediately shut his mouth and walked away. I felt my anger fade a little. I gave Luis a thumbs up. He stood there, stiff and awkward, his ears tinged pink. Later, I bought the ice and packed it into the storage box. Luis stared in shock. I never thought of that. I've wasted so much meat over the years. For a moment, his admiration for me deepened. I patted his shoulder, set a time for the next day, and went home to rest. The next morning, we loaded up the cart and headed to the city. I felt nervous. Starting a business is always the hardest part. If we couldn't sell all the meat today, I could already imagine Sam and the others mocking us endlessly. When we arrived at the market, a large crowd quickly gathered. People lined up eagerly to buy meat. In less than 2 hours, we had completely sold out of the pork we prepared the night before. Even with a long line still waiting, those who hadn't gotten any meat refused to leave. I came up with an idea on the spot. I took down their names and set up reservations so they could come back tomorrow to pick up their meat. Luis helped maintain order, but his gaze kept drifting toward me. On our way home, he looked at me and said, "You're incredible, smarter than anyone I've ever met. The share I originally gave you was too little. I want to split it equally from now on, no matter how much we sell." His earnest expression left no room for doubt. I agreed. "All right, I'll work even harder to support you." I felt even more motivated. A few people, hoping to mock us, walked up and lifted the tarp covering our cart. But when they saw it was empty, they exchanged glances in silence. At home, I did some rough calculations. In one day, we earned more than I used to make in a month at the factory. My parents, finally convinced, dropped all their concerns. That evening, they even invited Luis to dinner. "Your brother is coming back tomorrow," Mom said. "You'll need to tell him about what happened with Sam." My brother had always been close to me. He knew I had liked Sam and had worked tirelessly to help his family. I nodded. "I know. He'll understand." He had even said before that he hated seeing the villagers bully Luis. I trusted that he wouldn't hold any prejudice. Luis showed up wearing fresh, clean clothes. Unlike before, he wasn't as tense and even helped clear the table after dinner. By the end of the night, he had chased all of us out of the kitchen, insisting on washing the dishes himself. Watching him work, a warmth spread through my heart. Chapter 5. Have you ever thought about opening a shop and living in the city? I leaned against the kitchen doorframe and asked Luis. His hands paused for a moment. "Opening a shop would be great, but I'm afraid it won't be stable." I reassured him. "What's there to fear? We'll rent a place together, build up a reputation, and we'll always have stable customers." I knew that just running a stall wasn't a long-term plan. If we wanted stability, we needed our own place. "I'm not very smart, so I'll just listen to you." After a long pause, Luis agreed. We decided to each invest half the money. That afternoon, we went into the city to find a suitable location. When my younger brother returned home and saw Luis helping around the house, he was startled. "Sis, what's going on? Didn't Sam come back?" I told him everything that had happened. Furious, my brother turned around, ready to beat up Sam. My parents hurried to hold him back, pleading with him for a long time before he finally calmed down. My sister gave up her chance to go to school and has always put me before herself. How can I just stand by and let her be mistreated? Back then, our family only had enough money for one of us to go to school, so I gave up my chance for my brother. He had always felt guilty, believing he had stolen my future. It's fine. School isn't the only place you can learn. I may not be good with textbooks, but I can learn other things. I quickly comforted him and added, Mom, Dad, I actually wanted to tell you, I'm going to learn how to make braised meat and open a shop with Luis in the city. Selling only raw pork was too limiting. If we could offer prepared dishes, add more variety, we'd be able to attract a wider range of customers. My parents hesitated. They knew it was a good business opportunity. But my brother was at the age for marriage negotiations, and our family simply didn't have extra money to invest. My brother made the decision. Go for it. I support you. Sis, Mom, Dad. She sacrificed for me before, so now it's my turn. Just like that, I managed to gather my half of the investment money. Without wasting time, Luis and I set up our shop within a week. By the end of it, I was exhausted, drenched in sweat. Just then, a delicate, syrupy voice sounded from behind. You've made yourself look so disgraceful. Who would even want to buy meat from you? It was Alice, Sam's girlfriend. She had meticulously done makeup and hair, holding on to Sam's arm while looking at me with a condescending smirk. I didn't expect you guys to actually open a shop. But so what? You'll still just be a pig butcher for the rest of your life. When Sam rejected me, he had repeatedly claimed he had been dating Alice for 3 years. They had spent my money on their relationship, and I refused to believe she wasn't aware of it. Yet, despite everything, she still followed Sam just to disgust me. Boss, where are you? Is the pork we ordered yesterday ready? Before I could even respond, a voice called impatiently from outside. I didn't bother acknowledging Sam and Alice. I picked up the meat, smiled brightly, and walked outside. In just a short while, I had already made dozens of sales. Alice stared in disbelief. But even so, she continued her empty bravado. You can't possibly earn this much every day. Sam is a top graduate. He's already a factory supervisor. You'll never be able to compare to him in your lifetime. Sam nodded in agreement. People live for status and dignity. You've already lost your reputation. No matter how much you earn, you'll never get it back. I let out a cold laugh. All right then, I'll be waiting for your so-called status and dignity to come back and slap me in the face. Chapter 6. Sam immediately caught on to my mocking tone. He sighed, then pulled Alice away. Meanwhile, after Luis returned, I went to a nearby braised meat shop to apprentice and learn the craft. After paying the tuition, my mentor turned out to be an honest and straightforward man. He taught me everything he knew, without holding anything back. Once I successfully recreated all the dishes, Luis was beyond thrilled. This is amazing. Camila, you're so talented. Hearing that, I was beaming inside. Then I'll cook for you every day from now on. Over time, Luis and I grew closer at an incredible pace. He finally stopped hiding his feelings and confessed to me. That's when I learned the truth. He had liked me since we were children. Back then, they all bullied me for being an orphan. But you were the only one who felt sorry for me and secretly brought me food. Luis, a grown man, was crying like a child as he recalled the past. We confirmed our feelings for each other, but out of respect for my parents, we had to keep it a secret for now. As time passed, our business flourished. Even the villagers, who once doubted us, started changing their minds. I returned the money I had borrowed from my parents with interest. They wiped their tears away and said, "Our daughter has truly grown up. She's got a knack for business." Over time, our savings grew significantly. I thought life would continue peacefully, but I underestimated Sam's jealousy. One morning, he arrived at our store, causing a scene. With him was an old woman. "Camila, the pork from your shop made my great-aunt sick. She's been having stomach pains all night. You better give us an explanation." I immediately recognized the old woman. In my past life, when I was desperate and still clinging to Sam, she was one of the many people who spread rumors and ganged up against me. She was one of the people responsible for my death, so I had no intention of showing them any kindness. Instead, I waited until a crowd had gathered before speaking calmly. Oh, there's a problem with our pork? Then let me ask you, can you guarantee that aside from our meat, she hasn't eaten anything else? Sam stubbornly lifted his chin. Why wouldn't I dare? I'm a college graduate. You think I'd make something like this up? When the crowd heard Sam mention his university background, they immediately started murmuring and siding with him. Well, he is a college graduate. He must know what he's talking about. Maybe there really is something wrong with the meat. I used to love buying from here, but after hearing this, maybe I won't come again. At those words, Sam's face flickered with satisfaction. Camila, just admit it already. Compensate my great-aunt now, or this will turn into a big scandal. That won't be good for you. I absolutely refuse to compensate them. That would be tantamount to admitting guilt and destroying my own reputation. I had worked so hard to build up this business and earn a good name. There was no way I would let this bastard ruin it. Suppressing my anger, I forced a cold smile and said, "How much compensation do you want?" Just as I expected, Sam named the exact amount he had paid me as compensation. Clearly, he was still bitter and had come to take revenge on me. These days, I was living well. The whole village gossiped about how unlucky Sam's family was to have lost me. This must have made him furious. So he came up with this scheme. I shook my head and exposed him directly. You're trying to scam me out of money? Well, I'm not that easy to fool. Since you insist that your great-aunt got sick from eating my pork, let's call the police and have them handle it. In the past, I had always feared the police. I thought they would never stand on our side. But ever since I got to know a police officer who became a regular customer, my opinion had changed. Chapter 7. He and his family came to my shop nearly every day, making him practically a friend. I believed he would help me this time. Sam's expression stiffened. He hadn't expected me to react like this. Why bring trouble on yourself? If the investigation finds something wrong, you'll only be hurting yourself. Seeing that I wasn't panicking and had even suggested calling the police, Sam's face changed slightly. His eyes flickered with uncertainty. He hadn't expected me to stand my ground so firmly. He tried to act composed. Fine, but if they find something wrong, you'll regret it. Then let them investigate. I stared at him fearlessly. I have nothing to hide. But you, coming to my shop early in the morning to cause a scene and falsely accuse me, what exactly is your motive? Sam's great-aunt suddenly looked flustered. Her gaze wavered, avoiding mine. Why you? Stop talking nonsense. The old woman stammered. We're just here to seek justice. Justice? I let out a mocking laugh. You're clearly just here to extort money. Realizing things were taking a bad turn, Sam tried to turn and leave, but I snapped. Leaving already? We haven't settled this yet. The crowd, seeing this exchange, began to murmur among themselves. Looks like these two really are trying to scam her. That's right. We've all eaten Camila's pork before. It's perfectly fine. Sam graduated from college, but instead of doing honest work, he's out here swindling people. Hearing the growing whispers from the crowd, Sam's face turned even darker. You all are making baseless accusations. We're just here to get an explanation. I let out a cold laugh. Fine. Then, we'll wait for the police to give us an explanation. Sam and his great-aunt exchanged nervous glances, then began slowly inching backward. You're not going anywhere. I called out loudly. No one is leaving until this is settled. Just then, Luis arrived. What's going on here? Seeing Luis, Sam's expression instantly changed. He knew how strong Luis was and didn't dare confront him head-on. Luis let out a cold chuckle. So you wait until I'm gone to come stir up trouble? Looks like you're asking for a beating. With that, Luis took a swift step forward, grabbing Sam by the collar. What do you think you're doing? Sam stammered in fear. What do you think you're doing? Luis's eyes widened in fury. I've had enough of you. It's time you got a real lesson today. With that, Luis threw a powerful punch straight into Sam's face. Sam let out a pained scream, clutching his face as he fell to the ground. Luis. Stop! I quickly rushed forward and grabbed his arm. Luis glared at Sam one last time before finally letting go. Sam scrambled to his feet and fled in humiliation. His great-aunt hurried after him, both of them leaving in disgrace. The crowd erupted into applause. Good hit! That bastard deserved it. Exactly. Camila's pork is the best. And yet they dared to cause trouble here. Luis turned to look at me, his eyes filled with concern. Are you all right? I shook my head. I'm fine, thank you. Why are you thanking me? Luis chuckled. As long as I'm here, no one will ever bully you again. Warmth spread through my chest. I nodded, feeling reassured. After this incident, Sam's reputation was completely ruined. His status in the village plummeted, and no one wanted to associate with him anymore. Meanwhile, our business flourished. Our braised meat shop thrived, becoming more successful by the day. Chapter 8. But I wasn't going to let Sam off so easily. Luis, I need your help. I turned to him, my gaze firm. Just say the word. Luis replied without hesitation. Go to the police station and report Sam and his great-aunt for attempted extortion. A cold glint flashed in my eyes. I want them to understand that I, Camila, am not someone to be messed with. Luis paused for a moment, then nodded. All right, I'll go right now. I stood at the shop in trance, watching as Luis walked away. His presence gave me confidence. Not long after, the police arrived. Officer, a few days ago, Sam and his great-aunt came to my shop at the crack of dawn, causing a scene. They accused me of selling bad pork and tried to extort money from me. I pointed in the direction of Sam's house. They were clearly just looking to scam me. Sam and his great-aunt were brought to the scene. Their faces turned pale. They had assumed I would let the matter slide. They never expected me to fight back. What nonsense are you spouting? Sam snapped, trying to act tough. I laughed coldly. Then why don't we let the officers investigate and see if my pork is really problematic? Sam and his great-aunt exchanged nervous glances. Neither of them dared to speak further. Seeing this, the officer turned to the gathering crowd. Everyone, please disperse. We will handle this investigation properly. The villagers reluctantly left, murmuring among themselves. Then, Sam finally spoke. Camila, do you really have to go this far? Sam looked at me, his eyes flickering with panic. Of course, I answered without hesitation. I won't let people like you ruin my reputation. The police took Sam and his great-aunt to the station, and I went with them. At the police station, the officers questioned them thoroughly and conducted tests on the pork I sold. The results proved that my pork had no issues whatsoever. Sam, what do you have to say now? The officer fixed him with a stern gaze. Sam lowered his head, silent. Based on the investigation, your actions constitute attempted extortion. The officer stated coldly, we will proceed according to the law. Sam and his great-aunt were taken away, and I finally let out a sigh of relief. A few days later, news of Sam's detention spread across the entire village. His girlfriend, Alice, dumped him immediately upon hearing about it. Sam, looks like karma finally caught up with you. I stood at the village entrance, watching as Sam was taken away by the police. A cold smile tugged at my lips. After a few days, Sam was released, but his reputation was beyond repair. No one in the village wanted anything to do with him anymore. Sam, weren't you a proud college graduate? Why aren't you working at the factory? Someone mocked him openly. Sam's face darkened, but he said nothing. I heard he even lost his chance to work at the factory. Serves him right, someone said gleefully. Who told him to be such a terrible person? Sam's entire family could no longer hold their heads high in the village. They had lost all their former arrogance and dominance. This time, it's your turn to feel what I once felt. I watched Sam's family in their miserable state, feeling nothing but satisfaction. Meanwhile, Luis and I thrived. Our braised meat business was booming. We not only opened a shop in the city but also established a branch in the village. Camila, our future is only going to get better. Luis looked at me, his eyes filled with confidence. Yes, I believe we will have a happy life. I smiled and nodded. As for Sam's family, they could only hide in the shadows, silently enduring their downfall. You brought this upon yourselves. I watched coldly, without the slightest trace of pity. Chapter 9. Luis and I continued to expand our braised meat business. The villagers who once mocked us had now changed their tune, admiring and even envying our success. Camila, you and Luis have really made a name for yourselves. An aunt grinned as she held a fresh pack of braised meat. Yes, Aunt. This is all thanks to our hard work. My parents, seeing how well our business was doing, finally let go of their concerns. Daughter, it looks like we have to approve of you and Luis now. My mother held my hand, her eyes filled with relief and joy. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I happily embraced my mother. At the same time, my brother's marriage was also finalized. His bride was the daughter of a grocery store owner in the city, one of our most loyal customers. Sis, I never thought I'd marry such a wonderful woman. My brother looked at me with happiness written all over his face. It's all thanks to your brother-in-law's braised meat business bringing us good fortune. I teased with a laugh. Just like that, Luis and I got engaged, and our lives flourished more than ever. However, just as Luis and I were busy preparing for the wedding, Sam suddenly showed up at my door. Camila, I need to talk to you. Sam stood at my doorstep, looking somewhat haggard. I looked at him coldly. Sam, there's nothing to talk about between us. Camila, I know I was wrong. Sam's face was filled with regret. I was blind back then, and that's why I did what I did. Can you give me another chance? I sneered. Sam, who do you think you are? You hurt me over and over again, and now you're saying this? Don't you think it's too late? Camila, I really know I was wrong. There was a hint of pleading in Sam's voice. I'm willing to do anything for you. Just please give me another chance. Sam, wake up. I cut him off without mercy. I'm already engaged to Luis, and we're about to get married. What's the point of saying this now? Sam's face instantly turned pale. He opened his mouth but couldn't say anything. Alice is a liar. She ran away with all my money. Now, I have nothing. I raised an eyebrow. Isn't she the girlfriend you chose? Now you regret it? Go away. I don't want to see you again. I gave him a cold glance, then turned and went inside. Sam stood there for a while, dazed, before leaving in a defeated manner. A few days later, while I was busy at the store, I overheard people talking about Sam. Have you heard? Sam's life is a mess now. A young man in the village was nibbling on some braised meat as he spoke. Yeah, his girlfriend broke up with him, and now he's just drinking alone at home. Another person chimed in. I listened to their conversation, but my heart was unmoved. Sam's current situation was all his own doing. Luis and I had our wedding as planned, and the people from the village came to celebrate with us. Luis, you better treat my sister well. My younger brother patted Luis on the shoulder. Don't worry. I will treat Camila well, Luis said firmly. After the wedding, Luis and I saw off the guests and returned home. I leaned in Luis' arms, feeling incredibly happy. Not long after, a shocking news spread through the village. Sam had committed suicide. I heard he drank a lot and then took sleeping pills. The villagers were gossiping. Sigh. Such a pity. When I heard the news, I only found it ridiculous and unfortunate. Someone like Sam is not worth mourning. I didn't attend his funeral, nor did I bring him up again. He was just an irrelevant person to me. Luis and I continued to run our braised meat shop, and life was peaceful and happy. Meanwhile, Sam became a topic of gossip in the village, a pitiful and lamentable failure. In this life, I finally got to live the life I wanted. I looked at Luis, filled with gratitude and happiness. Thank you, Luis. Silly. I should be the one thanking you. We exchanged a smile and continued to stay busy. Sam became a shadow in my heart, but it was quickly overshadowed by the happiness of my life. Everything is in the past now. I thought quietly. The days ahead will definitely be even better.